Namaskar. Today we have a brand new guest, Colonel Tikoo, retired, and he brings enormous amount of experience about Kashmir and all the issues related around Kashmir. He's a Kashmiri Pandit himself. I'm going to give you a brief intro on him in just a moment. Let's first invite the artist to our channel. Colonel Saab, Namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. How are you?
Thank you, Arsab. Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Thank you very much for calling me on your very famous and very incisive platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. And viewers, a small brief bio about Colonel Tikoo. He was born in Srinagar and did his schooling and college from there. He was commissioned in the Indian Army in August 1971 in the Naga Regiment. Besides having fought the 1971 Indo-Pak War in the Eastern Front, now Bangladesh, he has served extensively in counter-insurgency environments Nagaland, Manipur, Assam, Punjab, Sri Lanka, and later in Jammu and Kashmir, besides having had a stint in Siachen Glacier, the world's coldest and highest battlefield. After retirement from the army, Colonel Tikoo has devoted many years to the social causes of displaced Kashmiri Pandit community. He was president of Kashmiri Migrant Welfare Association, Noida, and later president of All India Kashmiri Samaj, AIKS, a pan-India organization of Kashmiri Pandits. From 2015 to 2018, he was the editor-in-chief of NAD, an important community publication and mouthpiece of AKS. So thank you so much, sir. This is wonderful to have you on our channel for the first time. So we are going to jump right in. We're going to jump right in because many, myself included, were disappointed that there was no resolution about PoJK as well as Gilgit-Baltistan. So before we go into individual areas, I just want to first lay the stage for all our viewers so they understand where things are. For the past 5 or 6 days, the traders of Gilgit-Baltistan have actually blocked the CPEC road, the Karakoram road, from coming into Gilgit, and lots of protests going on. So this is just the latest information. Now, I don't know all the different reasons why this is happening. Colonel Tikoo Saab will tell us that. Also, 2 years ago, there was a very active proposal on behalf of Pakistan to sell Gilgit-Baltistan to China. I mean, this is ludicrous. It's not even their property. They did that in Shaksgam Valley. So we have a certain perspective here, and how GB is going to be part of India. We'll go through that. And first, let's start with the GB, sir, because that looks like a little bit more of a lower hanging fruit. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Sab. I think it's a very tough nut to crack because you see, at the time of when we went to the United Nations in 1948, and then finally we had a ceasefire, and then unfortunately we gave huge lot of territory to Pakistan when we could have easily captured it. But anyway, those are old things, and everybody knows the kind of mistakes that we made. As far as Gilgit-Baltistan is concerned, Gilgit-Baltistan Pakistan never made it part of Azad Jammu and Kashmir, right at the time when the ceasefire came into action. That was called northern areas, and they were federally administered from Rawalpindi and now Islamabad. The Muzaffarabad area, Kotli, Mirpur, Muzaffarabad, Bagh, and all these areas were named as Azad Kashmir. So the intent of Pakistan was absolutely clear at that very time, because both Gilgit-Baltistan and the Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, from their side, as they call it, the Azad Kashmir, the so-called Azad Kashmir, were both part of Maharaja's Jammu and Kashmir, for which he did accession with Bharat. But Pakistan deliberately and cunningly took out these areas and turned them northern areas and federally administered them. It is not that the so-called Azad Kashmir or PoJK was not federally administered. They were also administered till about 20 years back, when they subsequently got a separate assembly. Otherwise, there used to be a federal minister who was called the Minister of Azad Kashmir, the so-called Azad Kashmir, and he would deal with Kashmir affairs. Now, as far as Gilgit-Baltistan is concerned, there are many issues involved in this. Gilgit-Baltistan, from times, I would say, from when in 1400, in the middle of 1400, when Shamsuddin Araki came from Iran, and he was not Iraqi because his name is not Iraqi, he's Araki. He was a Shia Muslim. And Shia Muslim, he was responsible for a lot of carnage in Kashmir. And he's the one who actually brought Shia faith of Muslims into Kashmir. And from there, then he went to Kargil, and from there he went to Dras, Baltistan, and all those areas. And therefore, today, at that time, that whole area was Buddhist. But after Araki's conquest of that place, the whole thing became Shia Muslim. So you have this Kargil, Baltistan, Gilgit, Kardu, all this area, Balti area, this is now Shia Muslim. Then what happened was, during Ziaul Haq's time, who started this Islamization campaign, at that time a large number of Sunni Muslims, particularly of the elite variety, were sent there. And they tried to, convert these Shia Muslims to Sunni faith. Or on the other way, if you look at the other way, they tried to increase they changed the demography of that place. They tried to change, and they did succeed to a large extent in making predominantly Shia faith Gilgit-Baltistan into a Sunni faith, so that they have the allegiance to Pakistan remains on a solid footing. Consequently, after Ziaul Haq died, these people, the policy remained the same, because what has happened is that Gilgit-Baltistan, obviously being too far away from Rawalpindi, and in any case, as you know, that Pakistan is ruled by Punjabis, the army is completely Punjabi dominated, and Gilgit-Baltistan was far removed from their area of interest, so nothing much happened there. Even at the time of, if you go into the history of how Gilgit-Baltistan became part of Pakistan, that itself is a very sordid story, because they wanted to be with Maharaja Hari Singh, and Maharaja Hari Singh had sent it when the British lease on Gilgit expired at the time of independence. Maharaja Hari Singh sent it soon governor, Brigadier Gansara Singh. But there were two British officers at that time who had been tasked to ensure that Gilgit-Baltistan does not go to India, because it was a gateway to both China and in that great game, as we call it. They wanted to keep an eye on both China and Russia, because it was threatening Indian subcontinent. So at that time, Captain Matheson and Major Brown, they both got involved in an extremely nefarious activity, and Brigadier Gansara Singh was attacked during the night. He was made a prisoner, and then all these tribes of that area, their Mehtars and all that, got together. And because Maharaja had very little armed forces present that way, he hardly had any army at that time. So that is how Gilgit-Baltistan became part of Pakistan, despite massive protests taking place all over the area. So since then, Gilgit-Baltistan people are not happy with Pakistan, because they don't feel themselves to be part of Pakistan. Now, and this is given. I mean, the people of Gilgit-Baltistan would any day want to join the old Jammu and Kashmir, which actually acceded to India. But unfortunately, what has happened is that Gilgit-Baltistan has been too far away from those who rule India, because I would rather, I don't mind saying this, I say it repeatedly. Unfortunately, at the time of independence, we understood only politics. Our leaders understood only politics. They did not understand much of geostrategy, how important northern areas would be to us. They never understood. So no effort was really made to regain it after Major Brown and Captain Matheson had, surreptitiously given this area to Pakistan. Because we have to understand that Kashmir, when we talk of Kashmir, which was acceded by Maharaja Hari Singh to India, has its borders with China, has its borders with Afghanistan, has its borders with India, has its borders with Pakistan. and short distance away from it is the Central Asia. So Kashmir is really, particularly the northern areas, are extremely important for India. But anyway, now we are at this stage where something else has happened. As you know, the CPEC, the crown of CPEC passes through Gilgit-Baltistan, and we all know that Chinese big military aircraft with huge equipment have been landing there, and they have, the Karakoram highway has been extended now down to Karachi. That's what their aim was, because China wanted the early and easy access to Arabian Sea, because most of their trade in oil goes through the Gulf. Otherwise, they have to go all the way around from state of Malacca and all that South China Sea disputes and all that. So for them, it was a crown in their jewel. CPEC is particularly the area that passes through Gilgit-Baltistan. But therefore, it is given that if anything has to happen in Gilgit-Baltistan militarily, China is going to definitely get involved, but only to the extent that it does not see damage being done to its name, damage being done to its armed forces, damage being done to its image as a upcoming and a big power challenging America. Because they have spent money. There are about $65 billion they have spent in making this, and they are having problem both in Gilgit-Baltistan, and they have problem down in Gwadar, the area that passes through Balochistan. But at the end of the day, Asab, I would like to say this: if people of any area do not want to be with you, there is no way you can retain them, because if they rise in revolt, with little bit of military help from India, not just military help, political help also, they will go where they want to go, and today they want to go back to the original Kashmir. So I would say that Gilgit-Baltistan is, in fact, whole of Pakistan occupied Kashmir is a low-hanging fruit, and Gilgit-Baltistan is also part of that. It's a little more vehement in saying that we don't want to be Pakistan, because Rawalpindi is too far away, Punjab is too far away, Punjab is dominate everything, unlike in India where we have a proper functioning democracy and people are ruling themselves. So I would say that what happens in both, in fact, PoJK as well as Gilgit-Baltistan, what happens will be determined by to what extent people there are willing to sacrifice to get this goal, to achieve this goal of getting back to the Maharaja Jammu and Kashmir, which acceded to India.
Thank you so much. And see, I have seen videos right from 2016 onwards of a complete Chinese enclave being built inside the city of Gilgit. Those videos have been taken down. Actually, I was going to try and play one now, where you can drive into Gilgit and you can see the enclave and all Chinese signs inside the enclave. That video has been taken down now, but I've seen it with my own eyes, so I can testify to that. So it's not just like there is a Chinese military presence. That video claimed there were 1,100,000 Chinese in that was like the staging ground for CPEC, because they were going to come down from there, come down to the plains and go all the way up to Karachi. So do you think China will just up and leave if India says that this is our territory, leave? Because 100,000 seems to me to be a big number. What are your thoughts, sir?
I totally agree with you. In fact, you see, when Galwan clashes took place, at that time, the rate at which the military planes were landing in Gilgit was enormous. In fact, they had these J5s and J10s also landing in Gilgit. Is a very important. In fact, Skardu is one of the biggest runways in that area, and they were coming and going from there. So there is a definite possibility that China is not going to upstick just like that. But I have a second opinion on this. You see, the point is this: China thinks that Pakistan ruling Gilgit-Baltistan can safeguard its interests. But suppose India were supposed to do the same. Suppose India joins hands with us and we get back Gilgit-Baltistan and we tell China, okay, we'll protect your CPEC, whatever it is in your area. What is your problem? But that is far-fetched. But definitely, I am 100% sure on this issue that if Gilgit-Baltistan tries to come to India, India militarily helps. China, there is a possibility, but let's not forget that if China intervenes directly, after all, Gilgit-Baltistan is Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, part of PoJK. And if China gets involved, then China, it's not going to be India versus Pakistan, it's going to be India versus Pakistan plus China. And will China in that case remain unchallenged? It will be a much larger conflagration. Therefore, China might think that I have got. You are right. There are a huge lot of Chinese there. Pakistan doesn't have the capacity to construct that highway in those difficult areas. Only Chinese have that capacity. So there are huge numbers of them. That there's a Chinese enclave. There's no doubt about it. I have also seen those videos. But the point is this: to what extent will China be willing to get involved with the local people? Because after all, it has to be initiated by the local people. India can only render some military help. Will China would like to get involved with local people? Firstly, would China like to get involved in a military confrontation with India? So these are the issues that Chinese have to think, Indians have to think. But again, once again, I will say that if people of Gilgit-Baltistan want to get done with Pakistan and join the original Jammu and Kashmir, I don't think anybody will be able to stop them. Some help will be given, mostly diplomatic and political. But if some military help is also required a little bit, India can give it. China can intervene if it wants to. But then China then should be prepared to face a much bigger problem at its hands. After all, let's not forget that it has a Taiwan, South China Sea. And China usually, I have seen with China, when they got a beating at Galwan, they just withdrew. They just, closed the affair there. So Chinese, that we are very pragmatic people. That's what happened in Vietnam. They got a beating after that, never fingered Vietnam. So these are issues that we take into consideration, but all will depend on the people of Gilgit-Baltistan, what exactly do they want.
Thank you so much, sir. Before we go to PoJK, I have one last question about Gilgit-Baltistan. I heard that there was a lot of action in Skardu also, in Operation Sindoor. Your thoughts?
Yeah, we have hit up Skardu also. I mean, these things will come out slowly. We have hit Skardu. And I was expecting that something will happen from the Chinese side. But as I said, Chinese are very pragmatic people. They will think 10 times before they do something. But Skardu has been hit. That's a fact.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, we have a lot to cover today because I'm greedy. We have 4 different topics that we are going to be talking with you. First one's done. Second one, PoJK, Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir. At least Gilgit-Baltistan gives India a route to connect with Afghanistan and Central Asia. There's a definite need for something like that. But in terms of what is available in PoJK, and considering that majority of PoJK people no longer even speak Kashmiri, what is the reason? I mean, what would be the incentive for India to have them join India? Of course, they can opt to join India. What are your thoughts on that?
See, it's not a question of opting to join India. The question is that do they want to remain part of Pakistan when they are actually part of Jammu and Kashmir state, which acceded to India? That is the fundamental issue.
Right.
The question is not of Pakistan. Question is that Pakistan invaded, and for various reasons which we did not go, there was a ceasefire, and the part of Kashmir remained with them. And there was a lot of politics involved in that. First, let me tell you what is PoJK. Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir has got a population of about 5 million. And none of them is a Kashmiri. They are, most of them, about 1 million are supposed to be there are Gujars. And 500,000 are supposed to be Sudans. And there are Jats, there are Rajputs. So none of them is a Kashmiri. So let's be very clear on that issue. There is no intermarriage. They don't even go there, and there's nothing, because they can't speak. They are not ethnic Kashmiris. In fact, let me tell you something else. One of the reasons why we had there were many reasons, but one of the reasons why Sheikh Abdullah was also interested in having a ceasefire line at that particular line, which is now a ceasefire line, is because he never they were opposing him. Those people, Muhammad Abbas, who was the Muslim conference head, he had huge backing among these people who are now PoJK. And Sheikh Abdullah had backing from Kashmiris. And then he never wanted his support to get diluted by getting these people also into Kashmir, because he knew then he'll not be an undisputed leader. In fact, that was one of the reasons why these people were kept that side, and Sheikh Abdullah got only this part of the Kashmir where he continued to be a big force right till his death. So therefore, it's a fact that they are not Kashmiris. They are different, totally different. As I said, their composition is like that. But again, the point is not. The point is something else. It's a moral point also, and you have to be pragmatic also. We have a resolution of 1994 in which we have categorically stated that PoJK is part of Kashmir, and it has to be taken back at some point in time. Will PoJK coming back to Kashmir create problems for it? There are yes, and there is no also. Let me tell you one thing. Gujars and these people, because they are different from Kashmir, have served many, many years on the line of control where we have been dealing with these people. And I can tell you one thing, those people who we deal with in Poonch, Rajouri, Naushera, Bimbargali, all the Krishan Ghati and all those places, Darhal and all that, they are all dominated by Gujars. We found them absolutely pro-India. In fact, one of the reasons why insurgency did not succeed in that belt to the extent that it succeeded in Kashmir because of these people. Because they never liked this Mujahideen being sent from Pakistan, and they would give them up. And they have always been with India. So there is an element of, because they think differently. Their thinking is quite different. And as I said, a large number of them are Rajputs, converted, large number of Jats. Like that they are. So I'm not very sure whether they will create any problems for us demographically. And one of the biggest plus points for India is the blackmail that Kashmiris have indulged in as far as India is concerned, right? From Sheikh Abdullah and Farooq Abdullah and Omar Abdullah, all these people, Muftis and all that, they have literally blackmailed India. Perhaps this blackmail will end, because then there will be somebody else also wanting to take a piece of the cake. Again, I would say this, that at the end of the day, it is for them to decide whether they want to stay with Pakistan or they want to be part of the Kashmir that exceeded, Jammu and Kashmir that exceeded. India is always willing to give its help. In any case, as I said earlier, we have a parliament resolution and we are morally committed to getting this area back to us. What happens after that, the subsequent issue, we'll deal with it. And we are dealing with, in any case, so many of them here, so few more doesn't make a difference. But as far as, but because it is going to have serious repercussions for Pakistan. Let me tell you, people talk about PoJK aayega, so what will happen? If you get hold of, if Gilgit-Baltistan and PoJK gets out of Pakistan and comes to Kashmir, which is now which is one of our states, Pakistan is not going to survive this huge setback. It's going to have serious repercussions. It will change the whole geography and politics of Central Asia. So it has many, many more likely repercussions than that strikes us straight away. And if our governance is good, if we have a good functioning democracy, if we spend money truly on the welfare of the people, then I'm sure people will look for that. After all, let's not forget they have, PoJK has a per capita income of $1036, whereas we have more than double of it in Kashmir. So these are issues there, and we need to look at it with a much larger prism and see what happens. But I would say that PoJK, Gilgit-Baltistan getting out of Pakistan is going to have a serious problem. In fact, that, in my opinion, that will be end of Pakistan as we see it today, and that perhaps will be the end of our headaches that we have been tolerating ever since we independence, ever since Pakistan came into existence.
Thank you so much, sir. Now let's move on to Indus Water Treaty. What I'm hearing now is that India hasn't totally cut off water. It has just made it unpredictable as to when they are going to release water, when they are going to hold water, and this inconsistency or this lack of information can hurt the farmers in Pakistan. And we are hearing a lot of grumbling and mumbling. In fact, down in Sindh, it is a much bigger problem now. Indus Water Treaty, my question, sir, is once, let's say that Chenab is better utilized using water from Chenab is better utilized using some canals and storage ponds and other things, then you have also got the plan of connecting all these rivers down to Yamuna. I mean, assuming that Sutlej Yamuna link canal, that's the last big piece. All these things happen. There is a lot of scope for India to further irrigate parts of Punjab, which are also becoming very, very low in their water table has gone down because they are doing 3 crops a year. And also perhaps some parts of Rajasthan, which are still in desert mode. So once water starts flowing into India on a regular basis, then my take is that everybody, Kashmiris, Jammu guys, Jammu people, Punjabis, everybody will oppose to any kind of resetting of that. Once water is coming, what's coming? We are not going to give it to anybody else. I mean, you see the fights that Karnataka and Tamil Nadu have, right? So the same thing will happen. Exact same thing will happen. So how does India plan on taking this thing forward? India is now really, really working hard to connect all these things and get the water flowing. But Kashmir and Jammu also need a lot of water, don't they?
First, let me give you a brief on Indus Water Treaty.
Yeah.
Indus Water Treaty was signed in September 1960 when Jawaharlal Nehru traveled to Pakistan, Karachi, and it was signed between the Prime Minister of Pakistan and India. When Jawaharlal Nehru returned to India, by the time he came back, there was a huge hue and cry in India. And everyone from hydrographers to politicians to knowledgeable circles, they told Nehru that it is a big sellout. And subsequently, Nehru was compelled to say in Parliament, and I'll read out what he said.
Yeah.
He said he faced so much criticism that he had to make a statement in the Parliament. And this is what he said, I quote, "We purchased a settlement, if you like. We purchased peace, which is good for both." He made this statement on 3rd November 1960 in the Parliament of India. So you can imagine what a sellout it has been. Today you talk to anybody, any knowledgeable circle, it was a total sellout. Because again, like going to United Nations, we thought we are buying peace. By accepting ceasefire line, we thought we are buying peace. By signing IWT, Nehru thought we are buying peace. It doesn't happen like that. It did not happen like that. It was a total sellout. Now, what is the IWT? Just take 2-3 minutes. IWT is that there are Sindh, Indus, which comes from top Tibetan plateau and then enters Ladakh and then enters Gilgit-Baltistan and then flows down. Sindh, Indus, Chenab, and Jhelum. Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab actually in that form. The waters of these rivers was given to Pakistan. And because they all flowed in J&K, at that very time, the people of J&K were up in arms that you sold us. Because all the waters of the rivers flowing through J&K was given to Pakistan. Even today, if you see their statements, they are consistent on one thing, that India gave the waters of Kashmir to Pakistan and we kept the eastern rivers, that is Satluj, Beas and Ravi. But even after giving all this, we are supposed to make use of 20% of the water for irrigation, navigation, and hydroelectric purposes, all based on run of the river. Just to give you a brief on this, we can the hydroelectric power capacity of these three rivers, Indus, Chenab, and Jhelum, is roughly about 20,000 megawatts. But today we have a capacity of 3,437 megawatt. We have not built anymore, so we are letting that water go to Pakistan. We are supposed to use 20% water for our irrigation, navigation purposes. We are not using it because we did not build up the capacity. Now, as far as the eastern rivers, Satluj, Beas, and Ravi are concerned, they are all, we can use complete water of these. But again, we have not made proper storage capacity. And because of this treaty, there are three ways you can, the agreement between India and Pakistan was that World Bank, arbitration, and individual arbitration. These three, you can go to any of these. But even when we want to do something little minor engineering task, they would immediately go to the arbitration council and the world will consult. For example, Kishan Ganga river water, we were supposed to take it to Uri, take it to Jhelum, and then so that Uri 1 and Uri 2 starts generating power. In 84 we started. They went to the International Water Tribunal, got the work halted in 87, so we did nothing. In then 1918, when Modi came to power, he restarted it. Today, that tunnel, which is about 23 kilometers long, will take Kishan Ganga water to Jhelum, and that water will then Uri 1 and Uri 2 hydroelectric power station that will do. But as I said, we are pretty late. On Chenab, we have Ratle and Baglihar Dam. Again, the same thing used to happen. We don't have the exact number of dams of that capacity which can store water. But now, because we have held it in abeyance, it's going to have serious impact. As far as the eastern rivers are concerned, I can name out, there are almost 10 odd dams and electricity projects which are in the process of being built. So it's going to take time. We don't have that capacity. But we are letting that water go to Pakistan. So when the government says that we are going to hold this treaty in abeyance, it's going to have serious implications. Firstly, Pakistan has about 16 million hectares of agricultural land. It's an agricultural society at the end of the day. And 93% of its water needed for this agriculture comes from Indus River systems. 25% of GDP is dependent on this Indus water. Therefore, if India says we are going to hold this in abeyance, it doesn't mean we are stopping, but it means that for whatever little engineering work we go, for example, we wanted to remove the silt of our dams. They will not let us do it. They will go to World Bank and they'll go to the individual arbitration and they will go somewhere else and say that India is doing that. They'll say, okay, stop. Now we'll arbitrate, and that will take an enormous number of years, and that in the meantime, billions and billions of acres of water will go to Pakistan. This is going to stop, but it's not going to have immediate effect. It is going to take some time. In the meantime, what is going to have effect is when we clean our dams of silt and sewage and various other things, it is going to, you must have seen lately when we held it in abeyance, there were floods in Pakistan because we started desilting it. So the water came up in a rush. We are not going to send any data to them. And that is going to create problems for Pakistan. This is something which we should have done long back. But anyway, now that we are doing it now, this, in my opinion, it is one of the biggest punishments you can give to Pakistan for its repeated attacks on India. That is handling Indus Water Treaty properly. We have held it in. Also, I would like to say it is on at least 7 occasions that we have tried to renegotiate this treaty. But Pakistan is not willing because it gets its lion's share of the water, which it should not get. So they don't want to renegotiate it. So what is the alternative for India? At least we can do what is our due. For example, using 20% of the western rivers, and utilizing complete waters of Satluj, Beas, and Ravi, the eastern rivers. We have not been able to do that. Hopefully, in next 4 or 5 years, we'll be able to do it. And then Pakistan You know, as you said yourself, Kaveri water dispute, even in this our Punjab, Haryana water problem. Water is a huge issue, and particularly in this subcontinent. And you cannot allow an enemy country that is troubling you all the time, ensuring that your blood flows, that you let it enjoy our hospitality. That's not possible. And another thing I want to tell you, Aksam, this treaty was done on in good faith that Pakistan will have peaceful relations with India. It's not going to create problems for us. It is not. It will not breach that faith. But it has happened, and sovereign countries are within their rights to get out of a treaty or abrogate that treaty. America did it as far as intermediate range nuclear forces were concerned. In I think in 2019 they got out of it. IBM they did 2002. They got because they felt that their interests are not being protected. Therefore, when the fundamental principles on which this treaty was signed, when those are being breached by Pakistan, India has no other alternative. I think I won't be surprised if India totally gets out of this treaty and does what is in its best interest, because our best interests have not been served by IWT, and Pakistan is not even willing to renegotiate it, which should be the case, because there is a climate change, floods are coming, there is an ecological balance, populations have changed. The situation is not same as it was in 1960. Incidentally, what was happening before 1960, many people do not know. There was a river water treaty at the time of independence. When British left, we had a river water treaty. Pakistan unilaterally withdrew from it. In 1948, December 1948, it withdrew. And nobody asking any question, how did you withdraw unilaterally? After all, between independence and 1960, there must have been some way this water was being regulated. It was regulated by the river water treaty between the two countries. But in 1948, they withdrew from it unilaterally. And then it led to us. And they had a good time because they were getting all the water. I will tell you my personal experience. I was posted in 1974-75, I was posted in the forwardmost picket in a place called PoJK on the line of control. It is west of Akhnur, right on bang on the line of control. And there the Chenab would enter Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Billions and billions of gallons of water used to flow. And more importantly, those days, the logging of trees, Deodar and Chinar and all that, they would throw it into the river in Ramban and such places. And en route, they were supposed to, because there was no other way of sending it. Roads were not that good. Billions of cubic meters of wood used to flow into Pakistan. And it was so surprising that India is losing so much of wealth. And this is an eyewitness account because I was posted there. Therefore, I think India has been rather too generous in our treatment of Pakistan, and Pakistan, wants to bleed us to 1,000 cuts. I think IWT is going to be. We are going to hear more of it in the months to come, I think.
Thank you so much, sir. Last question. We have now seen 11 years of Modi government. In this 11 years, how do you see the progress of Jammu and Kashmir?
Well, I think there's no doubt about it that Jammu and Kashmir has seen a dimensional change in its in various facets. I think the Modi government, NDA government, made some mistakes early on when they came to power in 2014. And one of their biggest mistakes was to join hands with Mehbooba Mufti in 2016. I suppose they had no alternative, but having joined hands with Mehbooba Mufti was not the right thing to do, because we know her politics. It's all influenced by separatists, and they have been part of this gang, she and her father more, all the time, and therefore it was not going to be it was a marriage of convenience. That's what BJP felt, but they did well to get out of that alliance, and then we had central government ruling directly. Then we had removal of Article 370. Some of the issues that I want to check. See what has happened in Kashmir. Few things that I personally see and believe in. One is that in Jammu and Kashmir, the power has always remained with Kashmir, political power, because they got more seats than Jammu. So they won bulk of the seats in Kashmir. They got 3/4 seats in Jammu. They always ruled. And there, there are just 2 or 3 families that rule. Abdullah family and Mufti family, and Bakshi family used to rule, but they now part of Sheikh Abdullah family. And because of that reason, Sheikh Abdullah initially, and then Farooq Abdullah, they were the window to Kashmir for every politician in India. Whether it was left, right, center, anybody, even for outsiders, they wanted to go and have a look at Kashmir, they would go to Farooq Abdullah. They have to go through him only because he was single point. Secondly, all the largest that India was sending, and you know that our people in India were dying of hunger, but we would send subsidized food articles to Kashmir. Their per capita income was far ahead of those in Bihar and many other states. Their number of government employees were far ahead compared to their population, when you compare it to Rajasthan. So it was handled with kid gloves, but unfortunately there was no accountability. Because you allowed them to do what they felt like doing, and the moment you did something, they would take advantage. They would take shelter in the fact that we have a special provision given to us by Article 370, and Government of India, nobody had the courage to tell them that Article 370 doesn't give you any right to indulge in corruption. But that's how it was. Always you would see Jammu and Kashmir 1 or 2, number 1, number 2, number 3 in the corruption index for so many years. So this changed. Firstly, because first we had DDC elections. DDC elections take place at the district level. That means you were able for the first time to devolve political power to much bigger base. So if at all money has to go through politicians, it will go to much bigger base. It will go to people. You had panchayat elections, you had villages now being dealing directly with the panchs and sarpanches, and the money used to go to them. And they would be answerable to people. Okay, in our village, this is the money that has come. What did you do with it? So accountability was far bigger, both because of panchayat and DDC election. Previously, panchayat elections were not, it was not applicable because of Article 37. So I would say that first there was devolution of political power, which was a good thing because it empowered many of those people who never were empowered. That is first thing. Second thing is Government of India acted extremely tough with the Pakistan-sponsored militantism, Pakistan-sponsored terrorists. A large number of them were eliminated. A large number of them surrendered, and they got Kashmiri people themselves involved in ensuring that their own children who were part of this Tahrik or whatever they call it, they were involved in getting the people this side. And as far as the Pakistani militants are, they are getting eliminated. Even those today who are not willing to surrender are getting eliminated. More importantly, the influence of Jamaat Islami, particularly of Jilani, he was the biggest proxy of Pakistan and Kashmir. Slowly, gradually, he got sidelined because people felt that they are getting unnecessarily killed. Pakistan also started getting weakened. So these 2-3 things helped in at least putting some kind of a perspective among the youth of Kashmir that this path is going to lead us nowhere. And that's why you see today a large number of Kashmiris are working all over India, abroad, because they got good degrees, they got education, they got good jobs. And that, the stone pelting era is over. The same people who were pelting stones are doing very well now. So many things that happened during Modi era, of course, that cannot be denied. And that's why you see a large number of Indian flags fluttering in Kashmir. I would say you didn't ask me that question, but being a displaced Kashmiri Pandit, I dare to speak on this issue. The only thing NDA government did not do is to do anything for rehabilitation of Kashmiri Pandits. our rehabilitation has not been part of this government thinking at all. They have improved situation in Kashmir. They have integrated Kashmir with India in a far greater degree than was ever expected or seen. But as far as Kashmiri Pandits, displaced Kashmiri Pandits are concerned, they are still refugees in their own country, and there's no talk of them going back. Nothing is being done about it. Actually, this is rather very ironic, because I firmly believe that unless Kashmiri Pandits go to the place to which it belongs for thousands of years, Kashmir situation can never be called normal, no matter what you do. So that is where we are, and recent Pahalgam attack was also one of the reasons why Pakistan did it, because it wanted to. They had many reasons. One of the reasons was that they wanted to derail the massive economic activity that was taking place in Kashmir, and it has really got derailed to some extent, because the number of tourists have gone down drastically, reducing the inflow of money there. And it has dealt a blow. That is why a huge number of Kashmiris came out on the streets to protest against it. But I would also like to say this, that they still have people who are supporting militancy. Otherwise, Pahalgam attack would not have been possible. So there are those pockets of influence. It's going to take some time to end that radicalization once and for all. And perhaps the government is on the path of doing that, and we can only see better things happening in future.
Sir, in fact, 370 has been taken out, but some of the provisions appear to have crept back in. For example, ownership of land. You have to be, I think, now a resident for 15 years before you can buy land in excuse me, Jammu and Kashmir. And this kind of laws, in reinserting them back, I'm not so happy about that. And also, the expectation was that secure enclaves, like the way the Israelis did when they had to go and create new settlements in West Bank, something similar would be done by India. I have not seen much happening. Maybe you have some insights on that. Do you think India is considering building enclaves where they can put ex-servicemen, let them live there for 5 years, create a situation where it can be peaceful, and then they withdraw and allow Kashmiri Pandits to go and settle into these secure enclaves? At least there is some amount of security of ingress and egress.
I agree to say that India will create secure enclaves like Israel. It will take us 100 more years to become like Israel. There is no such plan. I said it, the very fact that about 400,000 Kashmiri Pandits were thrown out and government has taken no action whatsoever to rehabilitate us back. That should put my what you said actually in correct perspective. Government of India, please don't expect any such thing from Government of India, for reasons which I have not been able to decipher till now. I think in certain areas, India government has shown a lot of courage and foresight. But as far as Kashmir is concerned, on core issues, it still is far behind what people expected to do. And what is even worse, most Indians and most Kashmiri Pandits think that if at all anything will be done, it will be done by Modi and his NDA Sarkar. So this is a very, very ironic. I mean, I have a plan which government of India would never want to hear, because they don't work like that. That is why I said that, it is so surprising that people in India, particularly the minorities, Muslims, call NDA Modi a Hindu government. I don't think even the biggest Hindus are still refugees in our own country, which is secular, democratic, sovereign country, and we can do nothing about it. So for me to say that, or for you to even think that we can make separate enclaves like the Israelis do, it is too far-fetched, and please don't expect any such thing from the present government.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Colonel Saab. And a lot of things that have been brought out here. My fond hope is, before I die, that there is an enclave and Kashmiri Pandits will be living there peacefully. I have known a lot of my friends from Kashmir who have settled They had to literally leave with their clothes. They have settled in, many places, including the United States, many friends. And when they go back, they can see their property. It's been completely, stripped clean. Except the walls, there is nothing left. Everything has been stolen. And there are some where there is goosebite also happening. So it's a joke. I mean, you have done unimaginable harm to the Kashmiri Pandits and their families and their property, and you still feel like you need to, oppose India. Look, I have a problem with this mindset of the people there, and that has to change. If you said that the district councils have enabled them at the district level, God damn it, say thank you. I don't see that, sir.
Absolutely. Sab, I'll tell you two or three. First of all, today also, after so many years of mollycoddling, not a single Kashmiri has the guts to say anything against Pakistan. Nobody will ever speak anything. That the damage Kashmiris have suffered at the hands of Pakistan is so enormous. They have lost so many people at the hands of Pakistani militants. And what has been happening to their whole society, their women by these same jihadis, this is all coming out now. But they will not open their mouth against Pakistan. So thanking India is far ahead of that expectation. Second point I'll tell you. My people left a locality which was called Kanikadal, where Tikoo used to live, in February 1990. I went there in April 4, 1990, within 2-3 months. The whole house had been ransacked. I have put the pictures of that, my house when I saw that in my book. The whole house was ransacked. And in 1992, the whole mohalla was burnt. Nothing was left. You could recognize that. Those pictures also will be. So therefore, I would say that on this issue, we are deeply disappointed by the attitude of this government. And as I said, the core Hindutva issue, if you call it really Hindu, it's not really Hindu, it's a humanitarian issue. But even if you call it a Hindutva issue, the core issue is this, that Kashmiri Pandits need to be rehabilitated. We cannot rehabilitate them. Indian democracy, Indian secularism, Indian system of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhna and all that, world being a one family, it sounds absolutely hollow. Therefore, I would say that I totally agree with you, and I am of the opinion that there is a way you can do it, but surprisingly they don't do it. I don't know what they are waiting for. I have no idea. I mean, they have totally given up on Kashmiri Pandits. Let me tell you, they have totally given up on the rehabilitation of Kashmiri Pandits, and for that I really don't know what the reasons are.
Sir, this should have been done right after the 370 was abrogated. There was a momentum going. Another thing that they had a huge mistake, in my opinion, even the Naam ke Vaste delimitation exercise that was done, it took the wrong index year. It should have taken 1981, not 2001. By then, all the Hindus have vacated the valley. Absolutely. And then you say, oh, one woman candidate on part of Kashmiri Hindus, one person will... Bullshit.
Absolutely.
I don't take that. Sir, the thing is, the person who headed this, he should have some bloody brains. He was a former chief election commissioner, sir. Yeah, this guy should have told the government 1981 is the right census to start your numbers delimitation with. And didn't you go back to 1931 to come up with the Mandal Commission reservations? 1931. And for delimitation, you don't take the right year? What nonsense is it? What is your IAS useful for? Useless pieces of shit. Sir, over to you, sir.
Look at the judiciary. We went to the Supreme Court of India saying that you should open up you should conduct an inquiry into the killings of Kashmiri Pandits. And twice we went to Supreme Court. You know what was Supreme Court ruling? They said, no, it cannot be done because it happened long time back. And the same Supreme Court of India instituted a sit in the Sikh massacres of 1984, which happened 5 years before us.
Yes, yes.
The whole damn system is become absolutely insensitive to the sufferings of Kashmiri.
Sir, Colonel Saab, the day is not far away when these my lords retire, whether it is at district level or high court level or Supreme Court level. You become a normal citizen. The justice will be dealt to you when you are a normal citizen. This is how much the people think injustice is being done in the courts. We don't have to say anything. They will do it.
Absolutely.
Sir, you saw that one instance, Vijay Mallya going to a cricket stadium in England, and everybody was screaming chor, 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 chor. Right? This is just a teaser. This is just a teaser.
Yeah.
People have lost their livelihoods.
Absolutely. There is a limit to absolutely. There's a limit to patience. I suppose
absolutely.
Even sleeping Hindu finally will wake up.
Absolutely, absolutely. So lots of things discussed, sir. Thank you so much. I really feel passionate about this because I see the same formula being repeated. Malaysia, and then now in Trinidad and Tobago and in Guyana, where Hindus are the majority percentage. But this teeny weeny 6%, 7%, again from Indian origin, Bihari Muslims.
Absolutely.
They say, oh, we are united. We can give you 6% of the vote. And this is what the stupid politician in that country listens to, because he can come to power based on that block. Hindus need to really, really think and vote very cleverly when it comes to elections. If you don't do that, batoge to katoge. This is 100%. This is the Bhavishwavani. Please understand where I'm coming from. Thank you once again, Col Tikoo. This is something very, very useful, sir. We'll be having you back very shortly. I have a lot of questions, follow-up stuff. This is just the beginning. Pakistan is not going to lie down.
Thank you once again for calling me on your platform. Thank you, Arsa. Great to
Thank you. Thank you. This is just chapter 1. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar.